Hello and welcome to World of Tanks with Trapsikis. We're looking at another one of my clanmates today, Tetrahedron, and as you see bottom left in the chat, immediately one of the allies gives up. Good Game Tomatoes, implying that, oh, we're going to lose. He's so scared of the enemies that he's not even going to try. Okay, don't do that. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you convince your team that you're going to lose, chances are you're going to lose. So rather try to figure something out of how to compensate for what you perceive to be a lack of skill in your allies, or try to play a bit of a defensive game and maybe just do some damage, get some XP, instead of demoralizing your entire team. Okay, to the game. AMX 1390, tier 9 French light tank. It is, of all the tier 9 light tanks, pretty much the worst. In pretty much every aspect. It's got the worst power to weight ratio, it's got some of the worst dispersion and ground resistances, it's got the lowest DPM, but it does have this lovely cartridge. Cartridge reload is quite long, but because you do quite a bit of damage, it is worth it. You've got 4 shots at 240 damage average each, putting your total damage that you can do up at 960. The penetration of 205, that's really not too bad. So Tetra went to the southeast corner at the beginning, and then he abandoned his ally ELC. Why would he do that? So basically what happened there is the ELC rushed in, didn't use any of the available cover, and hoped some of his allies would support him. You're allowed to do that, but it's not a very good idea because you're putting your team in a difficult situation. Do they abandon you and let you get killed, or do they do the best for the team and let you, or do they follow you in and actually allow themselves to get damaged and be out of position? Now here, Tetra rammed the friendly arty, or the friendly arty rammed him, but because the artillery is so much slower and has such a slow traverse, it was Tetra's job to make sure he doesn't run into him. So be careful for that. Even if he's in your way or he's ramming you, if you're the faster tank, you kind of have the responsibility to actually do something about it. Alright, so a little bit of only the ramming damage being taken by Tetra so far, and he's done nearly 1,000 damage, but if you look at the scoreboards, 4 friendly kills versus 6 enemy kills, he's going to have to do a lot to make sure that they win this one. So what he's doing now is he's flanking the enemies because it looks like they're all concentrating in the middle, and then he glimpses the T-44 who's also trying to flank the friendlies. So whoever flanks first can get some side shots and do a lot for their team, both regarding spotting and damage. But fortunately Tetra is able to eliminate the T-44. Now you'll notice 2 things about Tetra's gameplay which is quite significant. Firstly, he tends to zoom in quite a bit. Now this means you can use auto aim a lot less and stand a bigger chance of actually hitting your enemies, but you really need to know the maps very well in order to do this. Otherwise, you're going to keep running into obstacles that you forgot was there or don't know was there, and it's not going to help you. And the other thing that Tetra does very well is manage your clip. Be aware of how many shots you've got left, be aware of which enemies you're about to face, and load accordingly. So if you deplete 3 of your shells and you know you're not going to shoot anybody for the next half a minute, start your reload. Otherwise, relocate, and in doing so, you can buy yourself some time to do the reload. There you notice Tetra just fired 2 shots at the enemy artillery and took him out, and now he's reloading again. The other 2 shots might be enough for the other artillery, but it might also not. So rather reload and be safe. Be at your full combat capacity when you meet your next enemy. Right, so here's the enemy. 1 shot in, low roll. Second shot, also a low roll, so now he's going to need a 3rd shot. And now he's very glad he reloaded the entire clip, because now he was able to finish the artillery without having to dance with him for 30 seconds to wait for his reload. Right, but now you look at the scoreboards again. There's only 1 ally remaining and there's 5 scratch that. All of his allies have been killed, and he's alone. But have a look at the hit points there. The Scorpion G and the Conqueror are both within the realm of a one-shot, and there's another Scorpion G there that's a two-shot, if you can hit. Right, so now he's got 3 one-shots, and the T-34 is an unknown at the moment, and the Super Pershing is an unknown. The T-34 obliges, shows us exactly how many hit points he has, which means he's going to need at the very least 5 shots, but more than likely 6 or 7 shots to kill the T-34, which is a bit of a problem. If you have a look at the bottom of the screen, only 19 shells remaining, and because with the light tank you need to keep moving, chances are you're going to miss a couple of those. Right, very nice. What he did there, and you're going to see him do that again, while spotted, move one way, then when you're not spotted anymore, turn around, go the other way, so that your enemies have their rears or sides towards you and their guns in a different direction. This is a very useful thing if you are the faster tank, but if you're not, then you're going to be wasting your time. Right, very nice. The upper hull of the T-34 being only a tier 8 heavy tank is easy to penetrate, but Tetra was clever to move there because the module damage of that T-34 is significant. If he'd been loading another HE round, he might not have been as lucky as the first one that only gave him about 200 damage, 205. Right, reloading again, you'll notice he's shooting the premium APCR now, and you notice the Conqueror out in the open there. Maybe you can get a shot, because that will significantly increase his chances, being the only tier 9 enemy remaining. Right, now trying to snipe the weak spots on the Super Pershing, but at this distance it's not a very good idea if he's shooting at you. If you're unspotted, by all means, aim in, wait for the reticle to shrink and give it a couple of shots, but at this range, if you're spotted and he's shooting at you, rather relocate. Right, so now he's up against 2 lower tier enemies, but they are both significant enemies. They have dangerous guns and they have quite good armor, but they're both very slow. So now Tetra can use the mobility of this tank to adjust the playing field and choose the battles that suits him. So you'll notice he spots the T-34 here, but the T-34 is in a hold down position, which is ideal for the T-34, not ideal for Tetra. So rather relocate and adjust the parameters of your engagement. A thing I like to say in this game is always run from a fair fight, but push your advantage. Try to get in a situation where you can land shots without taking any. Then you'll be golden. Unfortunately, T-34 being clever there, falling back before Tetra can take a shot. And now obviously being spotted, he's going one way. And you'll notice a friendly there suggesting that Tetra change direction. This could be useful, but try to avoid spamming the chat. The way that T-34 did here is perfectly acceptable. He gave his opinion and let it be. If the only person alive chooses not to follow your advice, it's his decision to make. Don't spam the chat with all kinds of insults and creative noise about how you would have done it differently or how you could have done it differently. This person is this position and they have to deal with it. If you start spamming them with useless comments, you might distract them and you're going to cost yourself the victory. Right, spotted again, so he needs to move. And have a look at the shells remaining, 11 total. You know he's got at least 2 for the Super Pershing, and the T-34 is still a couple of shots away from being killed. So the shells are getting low, but it's not only about the shells. Because he's running an autoloader, you also have to consider your cartridges, how many will fit. So if you, for example, shell out 3 shells now and start reloading, you're only going to have 2 after the reload. Now, very nice. The T-34 doesn't penetrate once again, and Tetra is able to take him out, and his HE only did another 234 damage. But now, only 1 premium APCR remaining, and 6 standard APCR. So obviously Tetra opts to change to back to the standard APCR, even though the front of the Super Pershing will probably be difficult for him to penetrate. He will rather have a lot of shells and be able to circle strafe and find the sides or rear, then only have the one shell, knowing that the Super Pershing will require more than one shell to be killed. Right, so once again, moves one way, comes back to try to surprise the Super Pershing, and that's exactly what he does. Shot at the rear, and he's very lucky that one went in. And now he's got the side, full on. Very nice. That last shot just put him over 4,000 damage. Very impressive, and showing us how to use the strengths of this tank to its full potential. Let's have a look at the post-game plate. On stats, not surprisingly, an ace tanker, bruiser and fire for effect, the Kolov-Bonov medal for standing alone against 5 for that short period of time, the Radley Walter for at least 8 kills, 9 in this case. Obviously you won't be awarded the Radley if you get 10, you get a better medal then, and the Pascucci for eliminating the RT, and a Top Gun. If you look at the team details, you'll notice that Tetra wasn't top on damage overall, and that's appropriate. The light tank's focus is not DPM. Your job is not to actually sit around sniping, but in this case he ran out of allies, so he had to do the damage himself. If you look at the personal details, you noticed that Tetra nearly ran out of premium shells, and that was quite expensive. Nearly 62,000 credit reload cost, meaning that he ran, even with a premium account, he would have had a loss of about 14,000 credits. But for the result he got here and the medals he got here, I feel 30,000 is a small price to pay. Tetra, thank you for uploading this to the What Replays site, and thank you for watching.